What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to the Rust Belt Rundown. It is Monday, September 15th. Man, I'm excited. I'm nervous. I got so much I want to get into and get out tonight. And of course, thankfully, I don't have to talk into the void all night. Paul Adamczak joining us here shortly. But just to kind of recap some big news that's happening today with the network. If you're not following along, make sure you hop over, follow us on socials at GemCitySN. Anywhere you get your socials. We're on X. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. I'm sure we'll get to TikTok whenever we hire an intern because we're all too old to really care about that. But head on over there and check this out, because if you missed this, I'm sorry, but we here at the Gem City Sports Network are thrilled. We are excited to announce a brand new partnership with the Erie Otters. So go back, check out the full press release on X and on our socials. But we welcome to the Gem City Sports Podcast Network, Off the Record, the official Erie Otters podcast hosted by Trevor Cabella. That'll be on Thursdays at 7 p.m. So make sure you get in and subscribe. Check this out. Subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe on Spotify, podcasts, wherever you get your podcast, because we are coming at you 4 days a week, soon to be 5. More on that later. To kind of celebrate our brand new partnership, my good buddy Paul Adamczak repping the Otters jersey here tonight. Paulie, how you doing, man?
Good, man. A little bit of technical difficulties early, but yeah, I got the Otters jersey on, man. I'm excited about the partnership. You know me, big Otters guy, so really excited about, having them on board. New content, a little behind the scenes stuff for us. So yeah, add to the sporting resume. Just can't wait. Super excited about it.
No, I'm super excited about it as well. Again, welcome to the Erie Otters, to the Gem City Sports Podcast Network. Their podcast, Off the Record. You can find that on Gem City SN. Make sure you go out and you subscribe, because that's the only way you're going to get that podcast. And if you need a little reminder of where to look, again, that's anywhere. Off the Record, Thursdays at 7 p.m., powered by Rebich Investments. Make sure you head on out and check that out. Paulie, I can tell you're having some technical difficulties. I think your mic switched back to your laptop, just to give you something else to worry about as we get set up here. We're still trying to figure this out. Like I said last week, we miss Rich. We fall apart, and we don't have the great and powerful Rich Smith with us. We may have to bring him in on a show here soon just to keep us back on track.
I know. He's the guy who hits the buttons.
Yeah, seriously.
I'm just the guy who sits here and tries not to sound like a fool.
Well, listen, you keep that laptop mic on. I'm going to keep making fun of you for being a fool, because it's still kind of coming through your laptop a little bit there, too. So,
all right.
Play with it as you need. Don't worry. You still sound good. Your voice always sounds good, my friend. So again,
how's that? Did I hit the right one that
there
time?
We are. There. Now I have the dulcet tones of the good old Mr. Clean. Didn't even play the drop for you.
Mr. Clean.
Now we can play it. You didn't have the mic working. That's why I didn't give you the drop.
There you go. I deserved it. Got to earn it. Make him earn it.
Oh, man. Well, hey, before we dive into any Pittsburgh news, Buffalo news, Cleveland news, Penn State news, we got scores everywhere. We got a lot of stuff going on, as we said last week, but as I'll set it up tonight as well, we always start with a little bit of news. So I want to jump into, let's just kind of, again, we save all the Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Cleveland stuff till later, and we'll start with a little bit of a news drop here. So let's go here, Paulie.
Sure.
Bengals. Man, the Bengals just can't catch a break. They lose Joe Burrow for what seems like 3 months. He's going to undergo toe surgery after being injured against Jacksonville, forcing Cincinnati to turn to Jake Browning. Can the Bengals survive without Burrow, or is their season already cooked?
Yeah, toe Burrow is what I call this segment. I think Browning can keep them afloat. He's done it. Big fan of his from Washington. Completed over 70% of his passes in 2023. 12 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, something like that. That's competent point guard football.
Sure.
They've got $500 million on offense between Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. Gesicki's a nice piece. They did sign Noah Fant in the offseason. Chase Brown's a good running back. There are bankable spots in those 3 months. Minnesota, Denver, Chicago, New England, before that end of November, early December gauntlet of Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Buffalo. If you can stay at or near 500, I think a wild card spot, but Burrow's going to have to be ticking come December.
Well, and you got to figure, okay, is it Browning? I've heard rumors they're looking at guys like Malik Willis. You know, they're obviously shopping for a quarterback. With this offense, I'd love to let's get some Jameis Winston. Can we get some Jameis Winston back in that offense? I could see him chucking it.
They're
to
trying
Chase.
to win games.
That's fair. But my fantasy team could benefit from some more Jamar Chase touchdowns.
That's fair.
And real quick before we move to the next one too is can we get like a PR move here on turf toe? Can we find something else to call it? Because turf toe sounds like rug burn, but man, I mean it ended Jack Lambert's. I think it was Jack Lambert's career or Jack Ham, one of the two. Need more severe than what it sounds like.
I read grade 3 turf toe. I don't know what that means, but grade 3 that makes it sound serious.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm trying to do double hand. Yeah, severe turf toe injury, Jack Lambert. So it ended his career.
Oh, okay.
So we've come a long way, but can we come up with a new name? Turf toe just doesn't have that same sort of severity to it. All right, next up. Eagles take down Chiefs in a Super Bowl rematch. Jalen Hurts and Philly edged Kansas City 20-17 with a lot of late trash talk and some big defensive stands fueling this rivalry. Are we worried about the Chiefs dropping to 0-2?
I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 0-2. KC is 0-2 for the first time since 2014. I wrote another one. It's not as good. Do you want to hear it?
I see what you... Yeah, give it to me anyway.
We are never, ever, ever converting third down again. Through 2 weeks, the Chiefs sit in the bottom half of the league on third down. They're under 35%. They are under 40% in the red zone. Nick, those are like empty field goals. Those are empty trips. You're going for it on fourth down. You don't pick it up. That's where Casey used to bury people. Remember when they'd have 1 or 2 play drives, they'd get into field goal range, they'd score when they had 13 seconds of possession time? They just don't do that anymore. That's how you lose 20-17, even when you have Patrick Mahomes. The wide receiver room is in turbulence. We know what's happening there. The offensive line is jittery early, couple of rookie tackles. I think keeping Andy Reid, that quick game, escape mode more than he wants. The defense is there. Spags is going to be Spags, but when you spend 40 minutes on the field as a defense, you're not going to win many games. They held Philly to 216 yards. Like, what do you want them to do?
Right.
But they've got Mahomes. They'll be fine eventually, but the weapons, like Travis Kelce, man, I'm telling you, he's fallen off a cliff.
Couple key drops. He juggled that ball in the end zone that got picked.
Yeah.
I mean, it just looks like a game manager at that point. I heard somebody say, I think it was Greg Rosenthal from NFL Network. And I mean, a game manager tight end's not what you need if you want to try and make a run to the Super Bowl.
2 weeks in a row now, we've had what I need to lobby for, a new stat. They call them interceptions, but if the quarterback hits the receiver at all, if it's touched by somebody else, it should be a team turnover, not an interception.
Just give the interception to that player.
Soapbox now. It's a team turnover. You know what I mean? Like a bobbled handoff. Whose fault was it? It's a turnover.
Speaking of team turnover, well,
I'm
I'm not going there yet. I should have, because that would have been a good one. But the tush push coming back into light, right? A lot of people complaining about it this week because, there was a false start. It looks like the center's offsides if you're looking from over top. So not a great game for the tush push. I mean, it worked for them perfectly, but I imagine it'll come back around here. Yeah, I think Mahomes had 40 yards rushing by halftime. Like, that's not what you want from your pocket passing quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want your $500 million quarterback taking too many hits.
No, I'm nervous.
When he's not the one dishing them out.
Yep, absolutely. Yep, I'm nervous. I was nervous about this team. I am not nervous about the Lions anymore as they embarrass the Bears. They run up 52 points. In their first meeting since Ben Johnson leaves for Chicago, Detroit routed the Bears 52-21 in what I'll call a personal grudge match. Listen, did the Lions prove a point to their old coordinator here?
Yes. Man Campbell, I think the how mattered more than just the 52. Detroit just didn't put a 50 burger on them. They attacked the very rules that Ben Johnson built when he was there. Early down pass rate, play action from the shotgun, motion at the sap. They use that to punish Chicago and the preset stuff, sort of sending that message, we know what your tells are, and we can flip them on you. When the Bears shifted to heavier personnel, Detroit answered with bigger nickel and still fit the run. So I think they really sent a message, and I think Man Campbell is that guy. You know what I mean? You leave me, but somehow he finds a way to like turn the chip on your shoulder into a chip on his own shoulder. He's a special dude, man. I'm not worried about the Lions at all.
Yep. No. All right. Me either. I was last week. I'm not so much this week. All right. Speaking of guys I was and then maybe shouldn't be worried about anymore, Russell Wilson had a vintage day. Ends in OT heartbreak. Wilson threw for 450 yards and 3 touchdowns, but a late interception in overtime spoiled the Giants' upset bid against Dallas. Was this a statement game that proves Wilson still has it?
No, I think we know what Russell Wilson is at this point. I think the statement that he made is, I am still better than Jackson Dart, so y'all can chill out.
Listen, that moon ball can go to neighbors all day for my fantasy team. I'll take that.
Absolutely. He's still got that deep ball, man, for sure.
Listen, the Colts, the Indianapolis Colts, a team that I never thought we would be putting into the rundown unless we were making fun of them, may have the best quarterback nickname. Daniel Jones taking on the moniker Indiana Jones, and I'm here for it, buddy, because the Colts are 2-0 after Daniel Jones has rejuvenated their offense, leading to their historic start. After scoring on every drive in their season opener against, Paulie, who was the opener against?
The pitiful Miami Dolphins.
And then Indy scores on its first 3 drives against the Broncos. The Colts never punted. They have never punted so far in this game. This is they're the first team in the Super Bowl era to record 0 punts through their first 2 games. Listen, do you think Jones and the Colts have finally turned a corner in Indy, or is just a hot start?
No, I think this is for real. The QB1 is cooking within structure, which is what Shane Steichen wants from his quarterback, and that's what Daniel Indiana Jones wants to do as a quarterback. He's living on first read rhythm and play action, not hero ball. I do think defenses will adjust to that RPO play action menu that we've seen, but I'm leaning toward they've turned a corner. No punt, 2-game start. That's not just vibes, man. That's real scaffolding to which you can build the season on. Jonathan Taylor has such gravity in the backfield that everything has to start with him. You have Steichen sequencing. He's good everywhere he's been. Go back through his coaching tree. And Indiana Jones is just executing on time, man. I think the Colts, who are better on defense than I thought, you do it against the Dolphins, that doesn't prove anything. You do that against last year's #1 defense or the reigning defensive player of the year, I think you're onto something. Yeah,
I think so too. I'm excited for them. I love Shane Steichen. This is what the Colts brought him on to do after coming over from Philly. So I think they'll keep rolling as well. Listen,
is that really? Can I ask you this real quick?
Yeah.
Doesn't it kind of show how bad Anthony Richardson is?
So bad, bad. Man. I saw somebody when he got benched. I was like, somebody posted like, "That's it, Anthony Richardson to the Steelers," and I was like, It was like that meme where I was like, no, well. No. Yeah, it's not, no. The answer after seeing them come out 2-0, the answer is no. The 49ers have been taking on injury after injury after injury this year. But
years.
That's true too. The one guy you were afraid of having an injury seems to be okay though in CMC. But Brock Purdy was sidelined this week. Mac Jones keeps the Niners rolling in Brock Purdy's absence. Purdy sidelined with that toe and shoulder injury. Mac Jones stepped in, delivers 279 yards, 3 touchdowns in San Francisco's 26-20 win over New Orleans. Aside from a fumble, Jones showed poise, settling in after early nerves, and then earning praise from his teammates for his command of the offense. Is Mac Jones the next Brock Purdy?
I don't know of that. But I know the fit was always there. It's been widely reported since 2021 that Shanahan was a big fan of Max coming out of Alabama. He's an on-time, on-script kind of quarterback. Think high-floor caretaker as opposed to, like high-ceiling, just monster. Purdy's week to week. I'm here in 2 to 5 weeks. Is it the toe or the shoulder? Because I read 2 different injuries, so I don't know if it's a combination.
I threw them in both at the same time.
Which one? Yeah, okay, very good. We're on the same page. But Mac Jones didn't throw any interceptions. He did have a fumble. But if he can keep the ball out of harm's way and lean into that Shanahan, the play-action run game, they should be just fine. Another high-end quality backup that I think can kind of come in, take over for a couple of weeks, and the season is not dead.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, TBD. It's fun to talk about anyway. I'm here for it. I'm excited to see the chaos that is already sitting in here in week 2. Seriously, tell me about it. All right, that brings us to the end of the news. Yes, like I said last week, and like I'll say every week, now we're going to jump from the news and into some Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Cleveland, Penn State news. So let's really dive in here to our local Rust Belt teams. All right, and as we dive into these teams, make sure you sound off in the comments. If you're over on X, like I see a bunch of people on, jump over to YouTube, send us some comments. We want to talk to you, hear what you think about the Bills, about the Steelers, about the Browns, about the Nittany Lions jumping all in. And, maybe it's just to yell at me because I'm still not a Buffalo fan. I still am a little nervous. We'll talk about that. But to help us break down some local news from over the weekend, we bring in our good friend, Coach Wayne Bradford. Coach, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. How about you guys?
Hey, man, we're hanging in there. New show, same antics. We're still having some fun.
Awesome. Good to see everybody.
Speaking of chaos, here he is on camera from his own living room.
There you go, yeah.
That's right.
Mary Kay in the background is my wife's office, so.
There we
Here we go.
Hey, we could bring her in for some pod advice. She's got some better direction than I do anymore. Well, Coach, we're so excited. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us. As we got into episode 2 of our show, we really wanted to kind of unpack and dive in, and we thought there's no one better to help us dive into the X's and O's, and not just because Baltimore and Seattle were in the games this weekend, which are teams that I know you're big fans of, but also just to get your kind of perspective on, we're early in the season, but there's a lot of the X and O's stuff that we missed that you bring, brother. So we're excited to have you come in and hang out with us tonight.
I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. We're going to go a little bit out of order tonight. We're going to jump ahead and talk about Buffalo because Buffalo really the only team that pulled out anything successful this weekend. So let's jump into Bills 30, Jets 10. All right, I told you guys I'm trying something new. Get a little news background, trying to bring back some NFL music. We'll try new stuff out on it. Anyway, the Buffalo Bills improved to 2-0 with a commanding 30-10 road win over the New York Jets at MetLife Stadium. James Cook powered the ground attack with 2 rushing touchdowns, including a dazzling 44-yarder, while Josh Allen shook off a bloody nose to add 59 rushing yards and manage the offense efficiently. Buffalo's defense suffocated New York, holding the Jets to just 154 total yards, keeping them out of the red zone until the final minutes of the game. The turning point came in the second quarter when Cook's long touchdown made it 20-0, effectively putting the game out of reach. Guys, Coach, I'm going to you first with this one. Did the Bills prove that they can win with a run-first identity, or was this more about the Jets' defensive lapses, or maybe just the Jets being the Jets?
Well, the Jets are certainly the Jets after week 1, right? Blew a game that they should have won. But I watched that first game and I thought the Jets played fairly well defensively. Gave up some big plays, but I didn't think they got dominated by Pittsburgh. I think the most surprising thing to me is how good Buffalo's offensive line is.
Yeah.
Made Baltimore look like a JV team. No one got near the quarterback. Baltimore's got some struggles. I don't think they have any linebackers that can play the pass. And Joe Brady did a fantastic job. So I think he's really grown into, we know he's had some success, but now I think he's kind of matured and got comfortable in play calling. And I think he knows as much as, Josh Allen, that Josh doesn't have to do it all. You know what I mean? And a great run game is quarterback's best friend.
Yeah. Yeah. Paulie, James Cook carried 21 times for 132 yards and 2 touchdowns. He looked like a feature back. Should they be leaning heavier on him so that Josh Allen doesn't have to break his nose for wedding pictures?
Well, I think 21 carries, is leaning on him in the NFL. You know what I mean? So, anytime you can probably be in that 18 to 20 carry range, it's a long season too. You don't want to wear him out, right? So,
right.
But he's a good player. He's a home run hitter. He can run stretch. He's an every down back. He'll protect.
Yeah.
In protection, he's a big part of the passing game. So he probably going to get 25 or 30 touches if you throw in the four to 6 passes that he catches. So 30 touches a game is probably 50% almost of their offensive plays. So that's pretty good.
No, I think it's fair to say. Paul, thoughts on the offense?
Mm-hmm.
You worried a little bit with Josh Allen going down. You knew he was coming back. You know, they were going to pack that nose and he was going to get back out there. But I thought it was interesting to see the offense still kind of hum without him. Trubisky seemed okay throwing a couple throws, but even just getting that run game going. So I think just so they don't have to rely on Josh Allen. What were your takeaways on the offense in this one?
Coach just alluded to it just a few minutes ago, talking about Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator and play caller. What a nice job he's done in the last couple of years with the Bills. And I think you're right with getting comfortable in that team. Week 1, we saw the difference from week 1 to week 2. Week 1, they played the Ravens. That's a Super Bowl caliber team. They leaned on Josh Allen. He was the hero ball guy. He was the MVP. He was everything. They throw for 1,000,000 yards. He runs all over the place. He is the unstoppable force when they need him to be. Week 2 comes along. They get the Jets. No disrespect to the Jets. They're not the Baltimore Ravens. And he throttled back and he leaned into that ground game. He said, hey, we got a $12 million tailback now. He gets feature back volume. You mentioned 21 carries. Allen only had 148 passing yards. He had another 60 yards on the ground. They didn't need him to be the superhero. They leaned behind that offensive line. They leaned on the run game. This was a game that they just wanted to dominate the time of possession, get out of there healthy. He gets hurt. I'm not concerned with the run usage. I've complimented Joe Brady. They use him in the red zone so effectively. Like they play that full 11-on-11 game inside the 20-yard line, and it's so effective how they use him as a runner. Trubisky was nice. They were efficient when he came in, and they ended up sitting Allen out late in the game when they get up by a few possessions. So I think that's the right conservation instinct and approach in that situation. I'm not worried about the Bills at all. They've got 3 days until they take on the Miami Dolphins, so they'll be 3-0 real soon.
they'll be rolling for sure. We said week 1, we were trying to find the truths in week 1, right? And I think we laid out some great truths. If you missed that, go back and check the episode from last week, anywhere you get your podcast. But I think my theme for this week, when we sit down and think about it, and you both just kind of said it, we say, okay, week 2 kind of showed us.
Are who we thought they were.
They are who we thought they were. Well, they are who we thought they were, right? And this will be the theme here for Buffalo, for Pittsburgh, for Cleveland. And listen, Bills Mafia, get out of my mentions. I get it. I understand. I said last week on Gem City, and I'll say it again tonight, I still don't have high hopes for this team. I do think they roll Miami. But listen, here's why I'm still a little nervous. I'm still a little nervous because it's still just the Jets. I don't think that this is a stomping of a good New York Jets team. I know the Jets after last week were really kind of taking the loss against Pittsburgh as a moral victory. I don't think that game showed how good New York could be, because then you come in to Buffalo and you're facing Buffalo and you get trampled 30-10. We'll talk about this in a second, but I just think that shows you how bad this Steelers defense is. So I'm still a little nervous about the Bills, about their depth. You had a couple key injuries come back in this one as well. I want to say it was Milano again, right, who left this game halfway through. Correct me if I'm wrong. I can't remember if it was.
You gotta check on that one. I know Teron
Milano.
Johnson got hurt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Milano didn't play in the second half. They downplayed it, didn't say what the injury was, but they said that McDermott said that he was dinged up a little bit there. So that makes me nervous. Listen, I know that the Bills defense gave up just 154 yards of total offense. Their run defense was excellent without Ed Oliver playing a lot in this game. Coach, I'm coming to you. The Bills defense looked elite. Are they playing at a high level, or was this just playing a bad offense?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd call them elite. I do know that they've got some excellent pass rushers on there. It is encouraging to see them play the run so well, especially after New York really dominated the line of scrimmage against Pittsburgh, like you said. And again, still feeling it out. I mean, they're only giving up 27% on third downs. So they're playing great on third down. They like to stay in that cover 2 shell. So Babbage would, sometimes he's a little softer against the run. It's a passing league, but they've done a nice job. And when they needed to against Baltimore, they found a way to stop the run. So Bobby is good enough to make sure he gets into 8-man front cover 3. He's not going to be stubborn, so he'll find a way to defend the run when they need to. So I think Buffalo will be 7-0 going into Kansas City. Look at their schedule, and it's a long season. But if they stay healthy, I certainly think they're one of the elite teams in the AFC.
You're not wrong. Home against the Dolphins and Saints and Patriots. Back-to-back away games, Falcon, Panthers. Falcons look good last night. Pats are frisky. Yeah, but you're right. They could be undefeated. And the Chiefs are already 0-2. They might not have a win until then. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not that crazy. But let's wrap up Bills talk like this. Josh Allen's bloody nose moment showed toughness. I mean, even my 9-year-old sitting down watching the game, who just loves to pick on me and say he's a Bills fan just because he knows I'm a Steelers fan. But we're watching the Bills game. We're bouncing back and forth between Bills and Steelers game. And even he goes like, I can't believe his nose was bleeding, and he gets back in the game. Listen, yes, good on him. Toughness. He said he didn't know what he got hit with. Broke his nose some way, it looks like, and put it back in place, and he's bleeding all over the place. But should Bills fans be concerned about how often he puts himself in harm's way as a runner? Is this a precursor to something maybe a little more dangerous moving down the line?
No, he's too big and physical. No. He's too smart. He knows when he's matched up against a smaller DB versus a defensive lineman. So I think he's smart enough to know when to go out of bounds and when he can take someone on.
Paulie, how say you?
He's the best runner on that team, and like I said, I think Coach Brady is really good in being conservative with when he picking and choosing his spots when he uses the quarterback run. And Josh Allen he's been a gamer since Montana. He knows when when he can roll out and safely, like, okay, there's actually nobody to throw the ball to. He can run a little bit, get out of bounds. He's been smart with that. He really doesn't miss time with injuries. He had a collarbone, I think, in like 22, and that's been it. He's been an Iron Man.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I agree with you. I mean, shades of Big Ben, just that big body doesn't seem to really break down. Can take
late,
those hits.
It took a long time for Big Ben to slow down. He took a lot of hits, but it took 15 years, man.
Yeah, and I think you'll see that with Allen too. Late career.
I don't know. I think Allen's a much better athlete than Big Ben, and no disrespect.
Well, that's fair.
Right?
No, that's fair.
The guy's a warrior.
I agree with that.
And
Ben was
Big
probably
Ben,
bigger.
Yeah.
Big Ben hung in the pocket and took shots. I don't think Allen hangs. Allen knows he can get away with his feet. He doesn't take those shots, but Big Ben, he just hung in there, and he didn't care. So, I think that's the one difference is just Josh a little more athletic.
No, I think that's totally fair. I'll be curious to see how end of career Josh Allen looks. But like we said, Buffalo Bills face the Dolphins at home on Thursday. Short week this week. Listen, if you have a short week, is there a team you would want more than the Miami Dolphins right now? I don't think so. Sorry, Paul.
High school JV team. That's about it.
All right. Hey, we got to take a break, but when we come back, we will dive into the Pittsburgh Steelers. Today's episode is brought to you by Rebich Investments, keeping financial guidance simple. Whether you're just getting started with your first investments or planning for retirement, Rebich Investments is here to help you cut through the noise and focus on what really matters, your financial future. Their team makes it easy to understand your options and build a plan that works for you. Listen, I did it myself. I wouldn't promote something if I didn't believe on it. Todd and his team are amazing at breaking it down and honestly keeping financial guidance simple. I told Todd, I said, treat me like I'm 8. He gave me nice little diagrams, a little coloring book. It worked out really, really well. So listen, if you are curious about retirement or what investments are or anything like that, make sure you go and see Todd and his team. For more information, visit Rebichinvestments.com. That's Rebichinvestments.com, or give them a call at 814-734-3433. Rebich Investments, keeping financial guidance simple. All right, we're back. Listen, I'm nervous, guys. Yeah, I'm not shy about being a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I really don't. I try to keep my bias out, and Paul keeps me in check. It's one of the great things I love about him. As
you're trying to keep your bias out of this. You're telling me this is the effort you've been putting in.
I mean, I would say I'm honest in my criticism against Pittsburgh. I guess I gotta check myself a little more. Like I said, Paul keeping me honest. But I mean, listen.
Wayne, keep that statement in mind when we get to the Cleveland segment. Go ahead. Nick.
Yes, sir.
Oh, listen, no, that's not fair. That's not fair. Cleveland, that's no holds barred because today's going to be another good one. But before we get to that dumpster fire, let's jump into this trash can first. Seahawks 31, Pittsburgh 17. All right, listen. Coming off of a big win against New York, the Pittsburgh Steelers dropped their home opener, falling 31-17 to the Seattle Seahawks at Acrisure Stadium, despite Aaron Rodgers tying Brett Favre for 4th on the all-time passing TD list. The Steelers' defense was gashed again, allowing nearly 400 yards. The turning point came in the fourth quarter when rookie Caleb Johnson misplayed a kickoff. That's understating it. Gifting Seattle a touchdown and a double-digit lead they never relinquished. Aaron Rodgers after the game just kind of said, hey, these things are going to happen. I sure hope not. Gosh, guys, Sam Darnold threw for 295 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kenneth Walker alone ran for 105, including a game-sealing 19-yard TD. I mean, every time they handed him the ball, he looked like Jerome Bettis out there. Coach, I'm coming back to you as my defensive guru. Is Pittsburgh's defense more of a problem? Is it more about scheme? Are they lacking execution? Or are they just simply not getting value out of their massive $162 million investment?
Yeah, I think it's all three, right? 44 first downs you've given up in 2 weeks, 13 of 28, 46% third down conversions. J.J. Watt has a goose egg, 0 sacks in 2 games.
Yep.
To your point, they've given up 789 yards, and they're giving up 4.4 yards a carry. So they're not doing anything well. You take Jalen Ramsey out, and I don't know if they're 0-2 right now. And the guy's making plays all over the place, made some great ones again, Sunday, breaking the ball up. He really has added value there. But, I think people have figured it out. Perfect example is the last 19-yard touchdown run was 3rd and goal from the 19.
Yeah.
Go ahead and rush up the field, JJ. We're gonna hand it off. You know what I mean? So people have said, you know what? We're going to run the football on passing downs against this 3-4 pass rush, right? And we're going to throw it on rundowns. And I don't think that Pittsburgh, we talked about this last year, has evolved from a staff in terms of innovation, especially on defense. People know what they're doing and have figured it out. And they have some really good players, but if you know where JJ is every time, run away from him or block him or zone read him. So I just don't know if there's no Dick LeBeau creativity. I can tell you that on the Steelers, right?
No, it looked like Seattle could just do what they wanted.
And Sam Darnold was awful in the beginning. I had to turn it off. He threw 2 picks. He killed the one he threw. We were fortunate we have that special team snafu. But they're not, outside of that terrible play by Darnold, are they getting people in 2nd and long? Are they getting people behind the chains in 3rd and long? Apparently not if you're giving up almost 50% third down conversions.
Right. And even the lack of adjustments, like you said, the lack of creativity. Paul, we talk about halftime adjustments all the time, right? And when we talk about, Seattle came out and they really kind of stuck to their game plan, but they also, it seemed like they knew Michigan style what the other team was going to call because that offense was not moving well. We'll talk about the offensive line.
Well, you know who the head coach of Seattle is. And where did he come from? He came from Baltimore, so he knows them.
He knows them inside and out.
And and Pittsburgh has they're 8-1 against Baltimore in the last 9, but those games always come down to a kick here or a kick there. But they know one another well.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a team that the defense is supposed to be tough. According to Over the Cap, like I said, their $162 million defense has now allowed 30-plus points in back-to-back weeks for the first time since 2002. TJ Watt has yet to record a sack. Thank God they traded for Jalen Ramsey because he's the only bright spot that I see right now. And then, injuries coming through in Pittsburgh as well. So it's just a little worrisome for me that the defense is supposed to be the one that keeps you in games. You're supposed to keep things easy for Aaron Rodgers. You lose Alex Highsmith in the second quarter with an ankle injury, did not return. Isaiah Loudermilk was lost in the first quarter with an ankle injury. I haven't seen any updates on them, but that defensive line is already running thin when you lost Derek Harmon as well. So I don't know. The defensive line scares me. Paul, the offensive line scares me as well. We talked about this back in the flagship days when we picked our keystone players. Rodgers was sacked 3 times. It seemed like they were in his face on every play. He's now taken 7 sacks in 2 games. Can a 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers realistically survive behind this struggling offensive line, or is it time for a scheme adjustment?
The hits are piling up. Like you said, the scheme has to help him a little more than it has. 7 sacks in 2 games, multiple hits, which aren't even counted as sacks. The quick game, the under center play action has to be where they go. They have to protect him, especially on those early downs. More OL in pass. They need some chip protection, some duos to slow down those edges. I think Jalen Warren, we're going to see more of that. RPOs, fast outs to Warren and Reynolds. Quicker lower that time to throw. That's how you buy health without wholesale identity change in Pittsburgh. Yeah. Bottom line, I think he can function at 41 if the plan acknowledges the reality of the situation. Fewer 5-step drops, more defined reads, a little more rhythm on early downs. And then when he does have this unbelievable ability to make a play at age 41 and lob one up off his back foot 40 yards down the field, if you're a tight end, you got to bring that ball in. I'm sorry, Freiermuth. You're paying Jonnu Smith $12.5 million. Doesn't that feel like a Jonnu spot right there? Yeah. I don't know. Just from a scheme perspective, but yeah, we talked about the O-line being a problem. Play caller has to help.
Again, I think when we looked at Pittsburgh, we wanted to see more. Steelers fans were excited about Rodgers, but I think at the end of the day, it's another great example of
they are who we thought they were.
They're a 9-8 team, a 10-7 team, right? I mean, this is what they look like. Let's put it this way: big picture. Are the Steelers still a playoff team, or are these back-to-back defensive breakdowns a sign of a season headed south?
I got the Steelers going 8-9, first losing season. I got the Steelers basically 50-50 every week. They're 1-1. They're going to go 2-2. I'm looking at their schedule in pairs. They're 1-1. They're 2-2. They're 3-3. They're 4-4. They're 5-5. They're 6. I look at it in 2-week pairs, and I see them winning 1, losing 1.
Yeah.
And I think here's the thing too. We talk about it. Say what you want about Todd Haley. He said, "Hey Ben, get back in the gun, put 5 guys out there, and chuck it over the yard." That's Aaron Rodgers' game. Yeah. That is not Arthur Smith.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Under center. So to Paul's point, hey, quick game. Ain't no quick game under center, especially if you're 41 and you got to get back there. Yeah. Put him in the gun and let him turn it loose. I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
Consistently, but that is not Arthur Smith. We'll get to the Browns and Stefanski, but those guys are in the same mold. You're rolling out and naked boot with Joe Flacco. I mean, you're killing the guy.
Well, Rodgers. I was gonna say Rodgers had one of those too. Paul, wrap it up for us. What are we thinking here? Because I think to Coach's point, this looked more like an Aaron Rodgers gunslinger style game versus the first game where there was a lot of play action pass, and I think a lot of it was because they didn't have time to get into the RPO play action type stuff, and I think it was Rodgers having to go back to that gunslinger mentality. Paul, how say you?
I love Coach's idea of going 5 wide. I think the problem is structurally this team is built to more be in 13 personnel more than they are in 5 wide. So I don't think they're dead yet. I think they're trending ugly. The 30-plus points in back-to-back weeks isn't good. I think they can make some fixes on early downs. Obviously, the special teams ball security, that's got to be there. Offense that leans into a little bit more of the quick game. You get complementary football. If there's no defensive bounce back after week 4, I'm saying the first month of the season, that's when we can start talking about structural changes, front office, mechanics, personnel, usage, rather than just the cleanup stuff. But I'm not in panic mode quite yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it'll be I don't know. I'm a little nervous. Pittsburgh at New England. New England's been pretty good so far. Drake May showing some
they stink.
Showing some promise there.
They stink.
I don't know. I'm not quite there. Their defense isn't what I'm worried about, but I do worry about Oh my gosh, what's their head coach's name? I can't believe
Vrabel.
Vrabel. I could picture him running down the sidelines for the Antonio Gibson touchdown, but I couldn't give his name. Pittsburgh at New England
roster is just so bad. I love Vrabel too. The roster's just so bad.
Antonio Gibson said post game, quick Vrabel note. He said, I gotta run those kickoffs back faster if Vrabel can keep up with me. I don't know. Pittsburgh at New England Sunday at 1:00. It'll be curious. Like Coach says, you got New England, Minnesota, and then maybe a reprieve with Cleveland and Cincy. We will see. All right, jumping up to the mistake on the lake. Can we say the same thing about the Cleveland Browns?
They are who we thought they were.
They do come through with another loss. Ravens 41, Browns 17. What do you think of this one? Well, Mission Impossible, little NFL Films vibe. I like this one. This one was a fun one for me. All right, the Baltimore Ravens.
Time today. I love it.
This is all the stuff I did instead of work today. The Baltimore Ravens rolled past the Cleveland Browns 41-17 at M&T Bank Stadium, handing Cleveland its first loss of the season. Lamar Jackson threw 4 touchdown passes, 2 to Devontae Walker, as Baltimore blew open a 10-3 halftime lead with 31-point second half. Fourth quarter, really. The turning point came early in the third quarter, though, when Browns QB Joe Flacco, making his return to Baltimore, was picked off by rookie corner Nate Wiggins, setting up the short field Ravens touchdown. From there, Baltimore's defense and opportunistic scoring sealed the rout. A lot of homecomings in this one. I talked about Joe Flacco. You had, the 30th anniversary of the Ravens, which was, you can't tell me they didn't schedule this game on purpose, bringing the Browns to Baltimore. That was kind of dirty. I don't know. Joe Flacco struggled in this return, though. Should the Browns, Paulie, I'm coming to you because we've talked about this a lot, and I'm going to talk about it until it happens. Should the Browns consider starting rookie Gillen Gabriel? Let me reset that.
He'll be on his jersey if they're the Browns.
Back up.
Should the Browns consider starting rookie Dylan Gabriel sooner rather than later?
No, I'm not there yet. Maybe build the package. Another 2 weeks in a row, we've seen the quintessential Joe Flacco, right? He moves the team up and down the field. You take him out there, obviously a worse offense, but there's 2 plays every game that you just go, Joe, please, man. So if you could pick those 2 plays out right before they happen and put Gabriel in for those 2 plays, I'd say, yeah, go for it. But since that's impossible to predict, I say no. If the giveaways persist another 2 weeks, I say the first month of the season, maybe you reevaluate the starter after the mini bye, which I think comes in week 5 or week 6 for Cleveland. So I think there is a built-in spot in the early season where the Browns could look to make a change, but after 2 weeks, no, I don't think so. You were right there in week 1. You should have beat the Bengals, and in week 2, you got smoked by a team that's a lot better than you. It happens.
Bye week 9 for the Browns. Just double checking that.
9. Okay. Okay.
But here's my counter argument to this. And Coach, I'd love to see what you think too, because I would argue that in these 2 games, they lose in that short game to Cincy, that close game to Cincy. They lose to Baltimore, blowout 41-17. I would argue, and that 41-17 looks bad, but that really didn't happen until, the second half of the fourth quarter where there was a bunch of turnovers. I would argue that it's because of Joe Flacco. They've lost of both these games. He threw those 2 interceptions in game 1. In this game, like I said, he threw for 199 and a touchdown, but he had 2 costly turnovers, a pick, and then a fumble return 63 yards for a touchdown by Roquan Smith. I know sometimes those can be fluke things, but I just think if Dylan Gabriel can play 85% of what Flacco can do and minimize those turnovers, then I think they win these games. We said this in the preseason preview. If Flacco can play consistent, mistake-free football, the Browns have a chance, and their defense is keeping them in these games. Flacco is not playing safe, mistake-free football. I think you got to make the move. If you think you have a chance with this defense to be feisty, especially with Burrow down for 3 months, and you want to try and sneak into that second spot in the AFC North, I think Flacco has got to go, and you got to throw in Dylan Gabriel. Coach, what are you seeing?
Yeah, I would agree with you. I would think it's time, but here's again, Stefanski's kind of a lot like Arthur Smith, right? Build the system for Joe, make it easier for Joe, put Joe in the gun, spread it out, get an empty, let him see the field, make it easy for him. You're making another 40-year-old guy run naked boots, do some of the play action things. And when you're averaging, 3.6 yards a carry and you have no run game, who's playing boot or whatever. They have no vertical stretch.
3.6 is an improvement over week 1.
Yeah, so I would agree with you. Put the young guy in, and the same thing. Get into empty, throw the ball around, spread it out. Baltimore's terrible against the pass. They have no linebackers that can play the pass, but you want to play pro eye and put him in a box and, let Roquan Smith run through the A-gap 17 times and murder you. Put him in coverage. He can't cover anybody. They don't have any linebackers that can cover. So when you make the game easy, for the opponent and they know what you're doing, you draft these guys, you can't put, I learned this a long time. You can't put, a square peg in a circle. So if you're a 4-3 and you only have 3 linemen, you better change.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you're a 3-4 and you got 4 great guys up front, you better change.
Yeah.
You have to change your approach. And I don't think some of these guys are doing that. And I think Stefanski is an example. I think Arthur Smith is an example. You go out and get Aaron Rodgers, you put him in the gun and let him throw it all over the yard. That's what people want to see.
Yeah.
They don't want to see him hand it off to Jalen Warren 30 times. I'm sorry.
No, I think that's a fair assessment. Let's jump, Coach, and coming back to you for the defensive perspective. The Browns held Derrick Henry to just 23 rushing yards and 11 carries, his lowest output in nearly 2 years. But they still give up 41 points. Now, this is a rushing offense.
Well, they give up 24, because 2 defensive touchdowns.
Right.
So to your point, it's 20-10.
Right.
It's a close game. So this is a rushing offense that put up 238 against the Bills defense, who we just talked about as being a good defense. So I would argue that, if we're going to use these comparisons, this Browns defense is playing back to that elite level. If you can hold, Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson to a total of 45 rushing yards on the day, then what does this say about Cleveland's defensive game plan? Are they back to being that elite level defense? Absolutely. I think they're incredible. And I watched Myles Garrett just do everything. Rush the passer, play the run downfield and tackle guys. The guy is a Superman. They're fantastic on defense. They should allow their defense to play 1 series of offense a half.
Yep.
And just hand it off to Myles Garrett. I guarantee you nobody tackling
exactly
him.
What I was thinking.
3.3 yards, you go all the way down the field. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But again,
that'd be hilarious.
Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
It's trying to probably play complimentary football, and keep it close to the vest.
Yeah.
But when you turn the ball over, they're -4. I think they'd be better off, giving one of those young guys a try.
I think so,
Coach, that might be Harbaugh calling you.
Yeah.
No, it's my other job calling me, so I apologize.
They need a defensive consultant. No, you're good. You're good.
But they are elite on defense, and it's a shame, to waste those. And I would say this too. I think Todd Monken is the same as Stefanski, and Arthur Smith. If they're stopping it that way, how many runs? I don't know if Lamar ran the ball Sunday. How many attempts did he have?
They really focus on throwing the ball with him.
Yeah, 2 carries for 13 yards.
2 carries for 13 yards. So he not winning the MVP that way.
He still passed for 225 and 4 touchdowns, so you can't really argue with him.
Yeah,
I think Cleveland's
plays. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Go ahead, Paulie.
I think Cleveland's playing with levers a little bit. This is a team that they see twice a year. They're very familiar with how the Ravens are going to attack them, how they want to beat them. And what Cleveland did was they leaned in big time to stopping the run, whether it be Henry or whether it be Jackson. And they just loaded that front, and they put a lot of stress on those corners and said, we don't want any 4-yard runs, but we're going to say that taking away that 4-yard run, and we might give you a 40-yard deep shot a little more often than we maybe normally would. I think they just, pushed one lever just a hair too far. Like Coach said, you're looking at a 20-10 game when you take away the special teams and the mistakes in the football game. So Cleveland did a good job in that area. They're going to see him again. They're going to say, hey, the run plan worked. We got to work on the pass downs a little bit more. And then as the season goes along, you can kind of play, the tendency game, find out what they like to do and what spots, and kind of play the numbers game a little bit better when you see him again. But I don't mind it at all. And I'm with Coach. And I think I said it before this evening, Cleveland's defense is going to be a problem for everyone they play. A lot like the Steelers of the last couple of years. They're not going to wow you offensively, but the defense will give them a chance every week.
And they got a tough test at home next week as well, as they welcome the Green Bay Packers. That offense looks explosive. So we'll see if they can hold it up again next week, and we'll see if it's Flacco or Gabriel. I'm with Coach. I say Gabriel. Paulie says give Flacco another shot. Let us know in the comments what you think. I know, but I really want it to. That game next Sunday at 1 p.m. And let's wrap this show up quickly. Let's jump over to the middle of the state. Let's jump into some college football. And this game was a game that I watched the first, quarter, and I thought, man, here we go again. Another slow start to Penn State. And is this what we're going to see all season? Well, then they break it open, and Penn State takes down Villanova 52-6. Number 2, Penn State stayed perfect with a dominant 52-6 win over Villanova in front of over 109,000 fans at Beaver Stadium. The Nittany Lions scored on their opening drive and never looked back, piling up 465 total yards while holding Villanova to just 179. The defense forced 2 interceptions, including a 49-yard pick six from freshman Jameer Joseph, as James Franklin's teams moved to 3-0 on the season. Paul, I'm coming to you because we talked about him a little bit last week, and we were worried. We were worried about Drew Aller, right? Is Drew Aller, they didn't really look like he was unleashing him. He still kind of looked a little slow moving. He throws for 209 and with including a 23-yard touchdown to Trevor Pena that was beautiful.
Love Trebor.
I know. But, T. Frank, friend of the show, T. Frank Carr, mentioned that one thing that he saw Allen finally do is he started to air it out and throw it out deep. So, in your opinion, did Drew Aller show enough poise and consistency to keep Penn State's offense championship caliber, or is this just a mismatch, Villanova's level of competition masking issues?
No, I mean, the level of competition wasn't great, and I don't want to say there's nothing you can do about that, but you can only play the guys in front of you. I thought of the 3 games that Aller's played this season, this was the best of the 3. He 209 pass yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Yeah. He operated the script. He got the ball out. He let the running backs and the defense control the flow of the game. That travels. That's kind of what you need him to do against Notre Dame and Clemson and LSU and Ohio State and Oregon and Indiana and later in the season. So you need him to not be spectacular, but you need him to not be horrible, which is basically what he was in big games like up until this year. So yeah. I liked what I saw. You mentioned the first drive wasn't great, but the second drive is exactly what I needed to see from the Penn State team. And I was like, okay, I feel good now. I felt more comfortable. They imposed their will for the first time, I think, all season. I think there was a lot of talk of them trying things that they knew they weren't good at to try to almost like use those games as practices and try to get better in crunch time, the things that they're not good at. And this was the first week where they said, all right, let's flex just a little bit. Yeah. And they managed to do that. And when they wanted to turn it up, they did. I think the Allen Singleton balance is much better than, when they actually want to utilize those guys. I like that they threw Aller down the field a little bit, or let him throw down the field a little bit. I still can't unsee it, and I think it was T. Frank who pointed it out to us last year. When guys are running side to side, his completion percentage is like 90%. When he's got guys running away from him, whether it's out of the backfield or downfield, it's like 40%. It's incredible. He had I don't know, remember where they were, but I can see in my head 2 passes. One was to Pena early that I was like, he's throwing away, they're running away, and it sails on him just a bit, and I'm going, I don't know. I look at all this stuff from like, I'm looking at quarterback drafting and I'm comparing him to all these other guys. What can he do at the next level? He's got some holes in his game. What he's got to do as a college quarterback, you don't need to be a Super Bowl winner in college. You just have to not stink and throw the game away in high leverage moments. Penn State has that kind of roster where they can be in every game because they can run the ball, they can stop the run, they've got athletes in the secondary. They're going to be in every game. And I feel like there's going to be at least 3-4 games this year that's going to come down to who makes the mistake that loses you the game. As long as that's not Aller, I think we're talking about improvement. But if he continues to be, a bum in the clutch, beating Villanova is not going to erase that nickname. You know what I mean?
No, I got you there. And Coach, I'm sure you still, you've had your time at head coaching in the college football level. So I know you still keep an eye out at the college level too. And Penn State's defense, listen, they've held both Villanova and Nevada to under 200 yards. Nevada had 203. Let's round down. We'll say 200 yards. They've only let up 17 points total across 3 games. Now, listen, Nevada, FIU, Villanova, I understand that part of it too. But this defense has held those opponents in tight games. Do they have a legitimate case for the best defense in college football right now, or is it more of just a mismatch?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that right now with who they've played. They're elite,
right?
Yes. But with the competition they've played, I don't think you can say that. Are they a top 3?
Yeah.
Yes. But, they'll get challenged in 2 weeks, at Oregon.
Oh, my gosh, that's going to be huge.
And that's their season right there, right? I looked at their schedule. Iowa, they got to go out to Iowa. It's a tough place to play, but Iowa doesn't have enough. So they got 2 games on their schedule, Oregon and Ohio State.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
I mean, there's your measuring stick.
I was going to say Indiana, former IUP head coach, former other PSAC competitor, Signetti.
I don't think, and I still think that it's very interesting because Penn State continues to hang their hat on being the most elite defense in the country. Okay?
Yeah.
But even Saban got out of the box on offense and turned it loose to win national championships.
Sure.
He knew that the game had changed where he had to get a game-changing quarterbacks. And as stubborn as he is about being in the eye and running the football, some of his greatest teams were wide open on offense.
Yeah.
You weren't going to beat Ole Miss 10-9 every week.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You had some other teams down there that were going to score some points. And I just don't think Penn State has gotten to that point. You're not going to beat Oregon 13-10. You're not going to beat Ohio State 17-16. And they have not been able to turn it loose in those games to score enough points to win. Have they played good enough defense to win? Probably, but have they played good enough offense to win?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Fair.
No, I think that's fair. And right, like you said, big test coming up in 2 weeks. Penn State taking on Oregon at Beaver Stadium. That'll help being at home. Whiteout game, from what I understand. That's Saturday, September 27th at 7:30. I imagine you'll see game day out there for that one. All right, we're already going over time as we knew we would. We're going to do that every week. I'm going to try and keep us under an hour, but man, I can't stop a good conversation. So real quick, before I get us out of here, let's do a quick pick 'em on the games tonight. We are at halftime, Bucks-Texans. Bucks are up 14-10 against Houston. Do they hold strong, or do you see maybe Houston stepping it up here in the second half? Paul, coming to you first for this pick.
Baker, touchdown maker. I'm all on the Bucks.
Listen, I benched him for Justin Fields, so it's inevitable that he's going to have a 4-touchdown game in this one. Yeah, that one hurt. Coach, where are you going? Bucks-Texans.
Man, I love Baker, but I'm a big C.J. Stroud fan too, and I know that Houston's got that elite defense. Houston's going to come up with a big play on defense, and they're going to kick a field goal to win it at home.
Yep. I like Baker as well, but I'm with you. D'Amico Ryans, that defense is maybe the best defensive secondary in the league right now. I could see them easily getting a pick on Baker, getting him rattled like we know he can get rattled, and I think Houston will sneak this one out. And then we got the 10 o'clock game, Chargers, Raiders. Chargers upset Kansas City last week in a great game. That game was a lot of fun to watch. KC's 0-2. If the both teams, Chargers are 1-0, so are the Raiders. The winner of this game is in sole possession of that division. Where are you going? Paul, I'll come back to you for first.
Herbert has got to be the most talented quarterback that Harbaugh's ever had the pleasure of coaching. I mean, he turned J.J. McCarthy into a first-round pick. That's wild to me. I think he's going to unlock Herbert. I love the run game. The Lad McConkey is a dude. I think Keenan Allen's a little past his prime, but he knows how to get open. And I think just Harbaugh's just such a great – it's old school. And I know, Wayne, you want to be everything, 5 wide, and you're into the new style of football, but I think run the ball, stop the run. It still works in the NFL. It's still hard to beat. It may not be the most fun thing to watch, but it's really hard to beat, and he's got those guys believing and playing well, and they're talented, and they've got a stable of backs. I just think the Chargers are going to be too much for a year one Pete Carroll team tonight.
I love 10-9 games, man. So, but this is old school, oldest NFL coach there is. You want to talk about old school? He's going to be in the under cover one front. Yep. You know what I mean? So he's going to love it when they're in two backs because he's going to have the Sam on the line of scrimmage. They're going to be an undercover one. It's an 8-man front. Boom, boom. He's going to unleash Max Crosby. So I'm taking Pete, man. I'm a big Pete Carroll guy, and I might even have to become a Raiders fan just because of Pete, right? His time at Seattle. And but if you just listen to him and his leadership style, if you're in a leadership position, you listen to some of the things he talks about, some of the he's just awesome. And just to watch him at 73 go out there and wrestle around with those guys, and you talk about doing something you love and keeping you young. It just for an old dog like me, man, it's great to watch him just run wind sprints, and he's got those damn gloves on when it's 100 degrees out. I don't know what he's got going on, but I just love his aura, and for them to go into New England and play well. And, I'm a big Geno Smith fan too. He's a guy that, it's a great turnaround story. So Max Crosby's the X factor, Yep. He's going to play very well and, get after Herbert tonight. Should be a great game. But I'll take the Raiders.
Those gloves, and he's coaching for the Raiders now. He's probably got some stickum going on there. Well, I'll split the difference, and I'm going Chargers. I love Herbert as well. I think he's my favorite quarterback in the NFL. I think they're coming off a huge high, taking down Kansas City last Friday.
So they have a letdown.
I don't know. I think they want that 2-0. They know that it's Vegas. Vegas is 1-0. I don't think it's a trap game. It's LA minus 3.5, so Vegas proper doesn't think that it's going to be a blowout game either. I love Amari and Hampton. I see him coming out into having a big game tonight too. My Eli decided to come down and he's throwing he's listen, he wants his dogs in, but we're going Chargers with this one. Hang on, Bubba. We got Chargers going this one, and I think it comes down to the defense. I don't think the Raiders defense outside of Max Crosby can really stop this Chargers passing attack. You're right about Keenan Allen. He's going to get some passes. Hampton, Najee Harris is supposed to be back in this game. I think QJ is going to have a touchdown. I just think at the end of the day, it's too much for Vegas to take over this one. And yeah, right now, okay, whoever wins this game is sitting 2-0 on top of the AFC West. Who had Kansas City sitting at the bottom by themselves in the AFC West going into week 3?
I think we all dreamed it, hoped it, wished it.
This is my fault. Last year, I made the Browns my AFC North pick, and we all know how that went. This year on the Gem City preview show, I picked Kansas City to bounce back with a Super Bowl season. So, sorry, guys. Sorry, Chiefs fans.
Nick,
this is
kiss
my
of
fault.
death, Artman.
This is my fault. Just, that's what I do. I just like to play that hex. Fellas, this was a fun one. Coach, thanks for coming on, hanging out with us. I know
Thanks
we
for
look
having me.
forward.
My
I know
pleasure.
we'll have you back sometime soon as the season gets a little crazy. Polly, it was a good one. Week 2's ready. I know
had
as a
fun.
Dolphins fan, you're a little nervous, but
I'm already on April, baby. Let's go. It's draft season.
again, thanks for everyone tuning in out there. Make sure you like, subscribe, give us a follow. Check out Gem City anywhere you find your podcast. Jump in the conversation. Make sure you go back and check out that press release. Again, just to kind of show off a little bit, we welcome the Erie Otters to the Gem City Sports Podcast Network as they bring Ot the Record, the official podcast of the Erie Otters. Will be Thursdays at 7 p.m. Make sure you catch that as well. I'm Nick Artman, signing off for Paul Adams, Zach, and Wayne Bradford. That's it. We're done. Have fun.
Have a great night.